back, everybody, to The Creative Moment, Season 2, Episode 3. Today, we are talking about just off-the-cuff stuff. We'll go over our challenge, and then we'll just kind of share what we've been up to, our creative ventures as of late. I'm Dante Bullhauer. I'm a photographer.
Jamie Bullhauer, writer.
And let's jump right into it. So, do we want to talk about the challenge first, or the off-the-cuff stuff? That's the title. Off the cuff stuff.
Because our challenge anyway, it was kind of interesting this time, connecting to our episode last week, 2 weeks ago, about what it means to be successful. And this time we didn't get anybody who did our challenge. Last time, at least we had one person.
Shane did. Shane did our
Shane
challenge.
did?
He sent me a huge email. He said he sent it to you. Maybe he didn't.
Oh, I don't think he sent it to me.
We'll have to take a look at it.
Okay.
I will pull it up.
All right.
So go ahead and do your challenge first.
Okay, well, I didn't know that we actually... So we got another one person. Yes. And it's like, so... Does that mean we're not successful? Is anybody watching? Now, obviously, the view counts and stuff below the video indicate there at least some people watch, but they're, not totally getting into the challenges. And I was just thinking as connected to our last episode about success. But honestly, it still was I found it interesting. I went ahead and did I did a prose poem. So I stepped out and tried a different form that's a little bit more difficult, and it just is interesting though. But at the time when I was thinking about this episode, I was like, oh man, we got nobody this time.
Yep. Yeah. But Shane sent me an email with some different stuff. So he sent his whole thing. I met with him a couple days ago. Was 9. So he had not necessarily the number 9, but I'll just read kind of his email for it. The mood boards that he sent are 9 emotions, and we'll throw them up on screen for those of you watching. 9 emotions I truly always experience and are left to the viewer to guess the mood / emotion / space in my head. Numbers not in a literal way. All of them together are titled not 9, but space within the 9. And he said the word cloud is a bonus. So here, we'll throw this up on screen. This was his first within the 9. Just kind of first look at it, what some emotions that come to mind. For me, this concert one I really like. And he said he spent a lot of time looking through the right images on Google. So I really like that one. This one, the word nostalgia comes to mind. I don't know why. Maybe it's the color grade. Maybe it's just the records being old. That kind of gives me kind of a nostalgic feel. You don't, other than Sebastian, you don't see a lot of people in record stores anymore. This mountain one is kind of, there's clouds in it, if that counts. But this mountain one is really moody. It's really dramatic. And, if I were to just kind of take an emotion, it kind of gives not like a sorrow vibe, but kind of I guess looming would be kind of my, the clouds kind of coming over the mountain, kind of soaking up everything. Maybe overwhelming might be a better term for that. I
went with the vibe of when you're listening to that sad music and you're just awash in that emotion of that, because there's 2 references to music in that mood board. So that's kind of like today when I was on my walk, had an interesting playlist going that just got reflective and stuff.
Yeah, so there's just kind of a Cole's notes, I guess, of that one. We can kind of break it down a little more. Here's another one. There's an extract of genius, it looks like, up there in the top left. There's a couple kind of Milky Way galaxy style photos. There's a bookshelf. This one kind of it feels like this top middle one, along with kind of these galaxy ones, kind of abstract, not really understanding, kind of feels a little chaotic, kind of just all over the place with just the the magnitude of the universe of stars, that whole thing, just the abstractness, the lack of understanding of what we are of that sort of thing. That's kind of the feeling that radiates for me looking kind of at this set.
That one's got art, like the muse of art. So, which can be chaotic and deep,
and it is for me a lot of the time. So there's kind of a glimpse of them. I'll share a couple of the other ones on screen. This one's pretty dark here.
Yeah, that's depression, sadness, like
I am scared. I'm scared. I'm scared. Trying to overcome fear type thing. Very, very dark and depressing vibe for that one.
Yeah, especially the hallway. Like
with all the lights,
getting lost of where you're headed, even though you can see where you're going, doesn't mean that it's safe.
The interesting one, there are humans in this, but there are no concrete faces in these things. So kind of a anonymity type thing going on there. Very, very potent emotion radiating out of that one. So. Those are some of the ones he sent us.
Yeah.
Numbers within the 9, kind of the compilation of them making up those different emotions. Back to your poem.
Yeah, I was going to deal with some different poetic forms, the non-net, and then I was just like, okay. So I just recently turned 51, so I kind of hung the idea on that number. And so this is a prose poem, and prose poetry is supposed to read and look
like a book,
like a story, but it should have poetic elements, not read like a story. And so it's really it actually, I think, is one of the most challenging, because that's basically the rules. That's it. Where other poetic forms, you can follow the rules, the rhyme scheme, the syllable count, and all those things. So this one's called 51 and Climbing. I really thought I would see my feet shuffling on a decline, but I'm at mile marker 51 and still climbing. I admit the view is spectacular. The whiteness of the clouds seem like a cutout from the silken blue of the sky. My heart whispers that forever looks like the horizon in my view. A landscape painted with every color in the box. Yet, I am tired, standing here at mile marker 51 and still climbing. My fingernails are ragged, fingertips caked with dirt, my boots worse, and I can feel the hole in my sock underneath the ball of my left foot. I have such a weird gait. Always being pulled to the left, having to consciously make myself walk to the right to get here to mile marker 51 and still climbing. I look down at the path I've traveled, some steep inclines that felt more like rock climbing than living. Other times the path slowly wandered across the mountain, almost parallel with the horizon. My breath is tempted to head back the way I've come. But I'm here at mile marker 51 and still climbing. I stretch, take a swig of water, and step forward. I watch a hawk glide above me as I maneuver the path ahead of me. My calf tightens as I step on an unstable rock. I clench my teeth in anticipation of the pain that could bring me down. But the next step is smooth. I look up to find the hawk and notice that I still can't see the mountaintop. I smile, albeit a weary one, as I move away from mile marker 51 to continue to climb.
Very well. First thing that comes to mind, perseverance. Like, just kind of, life's not easy for anybody, but you've made it this far.
Yep.
There's struggles, there's temptations, that you mentioned there, and just, getting through it and taking one step at a time, still get 51, keep going.
It's always interesting in life. I got clouds and I've got mountains. Just like Shane did. Like, it's just like, okay. Now, if you throw up a picture here on your adventures that you've been on.
There are no clouds and no mountains. There is nature. Yeah, so this is my quantification. It's 2 photos. So obviously throw it up on screen. One is of this, this yellow leaf. And so I just got back today actually from a trip to Minnesota to Mankato. And the fall colors were just amazing there. So I was one-wheeling on a wood-chipped trail and ended up one-wheeling all the way back to get my camera because I was like, this is insane. So this is the first photo. It's of a yellow leaf. And then the next one is of, a different shaped red leaf. And kind of the interpretation of why I took, the yellow leaf and then the red leaf is that kind of a snowflake metaphor type thing. All these leaves, they start out in the summer, they're all green. They may be shaped differently. They, different trees, whatever. But they're all green. They're all, they look uniform. Just looking up at a group of green trees, they look the same. Then when they all fall and, their colors change, they start to die, whatever, the differences in them is a lot more obvious. And I kind of connected it to like, when you're struggling, when you're, going down, your true colors kind of come out. And, at the end of the day, no person's struggles are the same. No person is built the same. No person responds to, that struggle, pain, whatever, negative emotions the same. And so, I was looking down all these leaves and, it's like a snowflake. Not a single one of them is the same in terms of color, in terms of shape, in terms of, how far decayed they are. And so I took this red. I like the red one better just for photography aesthetic purposes, but there are 2 leaves and they were literally right next to each other, but so very different in, but just every sense of the word, and kind of an exemplification of, us as people. When we struggle, when we fail, it looks differently for everybody, who we are deep down. And I feel that, when we do get to our lowest point is when we find out who we really are. And I feel like that was kind of the idea that I went for in taking, these 2 photos of, very contrasting leaves. One's small, one's big, one's like a maple leaf type thing. The other one's, just a circle. I don't know my leaves, but that's as close as I'll get. So that was kind of my 2 leaves, very different. They were right next to each other, but they're very different. And, just kind of using that analogy of what they represented in my head.
Yeah. So you actually just got back and you had a wider range of photos and photo opportunities. How'd it go? Like
it? Well, so on the drive there, I was like, wow, these fall colors are really, really, like, they're really cool. Like, I want to pull over and take a photo of it. And the person I was going up there to see said, just you wait till you get up to Minnesota. And I was like, okay, like, whatever. Yeah, okay. The leaves are changing everywhere, so they look the same everywhere. And I get up there, and it was like just a blast of color. And so right when I got there, searched up a park in Mankato, went to it, started just one-wheeling through because I was, I just wanted to kind of relax, whatever. Get like half a mile into the trail, and I'm like, okay, I was like, I'm not going to take the camera. I just want to one-wheel. Got to go get the camera. Got to take these photos. They look sick. The trees were amazing. The hills were super cool. So that was really rejuvenating. I love getting fall photos, and I hadn't taken any yet this year. So that was my first time being able to take, fall photos. And in that environment was really cool. The second day, during the day, I ended up hiking 6 miles in like an hour and a half. and I was exhausted. I stepped on a snake. That wasn't fun. But I went to a bison range. I went to Minneopa State Park and drove through a bison range, and all the bison were just kind of sitting there and doing nothing. And I was like, oh, okay, this is stupid. Like, you couldn't even really see them. They're like kind of far back from the road because you couldn't get out of your vehicle, obviously. And so I went and just waited there. I had time to kill. I waited there for like 20 minutes, and a bison came up within like 10 feet of my car, and I was like, like I was just spamming the shutter button. I was like, these are sweet photos. So that was cool. I took some photo. I hiked around the whole range. That was like 5 miles, and then I went to a waterfall that was all dried up, but still got some decent shots of just the fall colors. It was all the trees around the waterfall were just orange, and so it was a cool to with just like the monochrome orange and then the black for the shadows. So it was good. It's always refreshing when I get to take photos of just stuff that I want to take photos of and not have any restrictions.
But you got to do some sports.
Yes,
too.
And I shot Minnesota State softball as well. So that was a lot of fun shooting. College sports is a it's a different level than high school, and so that was a lot of fun. There was gorgeous fall colors in the background of that too. So just working with, I've been really since we talked about me centering everything on this podcast. I've really made an effort to not center as much, and so if you go look at my Instagram and see the photos, almost none of them are centered because I have been working on it. So I was trying to frame the players with the fall trees in the back. Ended up getting some cool compositions, different things like that. Made a couple of connections with a couple other photographers. So it was good. It was it was sports, something I'm super comfortable shooting, and then I've never shot bison before, so that was cool to just kind of do that. And being in that confined car space, I got to work with what I got. Like, I can't drive and shoot photos, so trying to work through that was also fun. So it was refreshing to just take no pressure photos, and it always is. So it was a good time.
Yeah. Well, and as you were talking about the one wheeling and stuff, and that idea that we define creativity as being us is like, yeah, there's times that you want to experience, but yet that muse hits, and that's why I carry a notebook almost everywhere, or I have poems written on scrap paper, like, because it's like I can't ignore that. I can't ignore it.
No, yeah. I was like, do I just keep going? I'm like, we gotta go back.
Yeah, because you're not gonna get that moment again, and you don't want to be overindulgent in that sense, but yet it is a personal record of it also, and the moment is enjoyed because you get to express yourself through it also. It's like when we were at the water park when we trip to Wisconsin, and I'm speaking into my phone this idea.
It just hits you, and you need, like,
yeah.
Obviously, it's what we're most passionate about. So when that passion just like when it strikes that chord, it's just like a drop everything, go write, go put the pen to paper on this idea, go take that, like, it just hits, and it's like you're like adrenaline just rush through. You're like, I gotta get this photo, I gotta get this idea down. Like, it's a weird kind of tug.
Yeah. And I think it's important because we could squash it, and then we could squash it again, and then it doesn't hit. Like, it's just like other skills and stuff. The more you do it, the more you give into it a little bit, and because I remember one of my coworkers once, even though I do not take as cool as photos as Dante, that I always did just this stuff, and she's like, You just do that. And I'm like, well, yeah, because that's what, it's what struck me to do at that time. So, yeah, it was good. There was some interesting. And, yeah, a little jealous there, like the one wheel video, just because I'm at a vibe. I'm at work, and look what I'm doing.
It was a vibe. And I did, after I'd taken photos at the bison range, I did just go one wheeling on that same path. I went back one wheel through that same path because I'd gotten the photos. I actually passed a couple other photographers that were shooting on like these really old film cameras, which was kind of interesting. Like they had them all set up on the tripod. They were massive cameras. And they were just talking about, because obviously with film photography, you have to get the lighting right in frame because you can't adjust. Like you can do some different things with developing it, but the frame you shot is the frame you're going to end up with. And so they were talking about how hard it was as they were walking back and I was passing through to learn lighting and that different thing. So that was cool to see. And I should have stopped and asked for their like socials or whatever to see, because I had taken a similar photo to what I saw they were taking.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was really cool up there. It was really cool. You've been writing muses at all? Has there been any?
I entered my first flash fiction for horror. So I've been
flash fiction is
very short. So this one had to be under 250 words.
And tell a complete
story in 250 words.
Well, you've got an experience in under like 180 characters. So.
Yeah, so that we'll see. Obviously, I submitted to the Gleam Journal, which is the Catalore, which is a relatively new form. But I've been expanding a little bit, even on Twitter with the horror prompt, and kind of like Stephen King. So like, I like that genre. It's my favorite to read, but to write in it. So we'll see. Open mics, obviously. Next one here will be in November. Yeah. I think I'm going to do a theme based and I'm going to do fatherhood.
Has open mic nights done anything for you that you've noticed in terms of maybe, is it easier to do it the next time? Has it developed kind of a different style of your writing has opened up, or has it done anything noticeable?
Well, just like for you heading out to nature, filled my bucket a little bit just to be, on stage and
sharing it with physical people instead of behind a screen.
Yeah. So, Lincoln and Omaha have some. It's just tough to always get out there now, working at a school and stuff as compared to some of my other jobs. So I'm excited though. I think it's, I've shared one of the performances on YouTube, so I'm hoping, to have one of my books, as we talked about before, done by the end of the year, and we'll kind of continue to expand what people can read from me. So that's what I've been doing.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's kind of our little catch up. Yeah. That's what we've been up to.
We hopefully will have our first guest in 2 weeks. It's going to be somebody that I have worked with, and they live in Australia. So we got a couple hurdles to see if we get that. But
time hurdles.
But, but we're hoping
to start the guest train.
A little bit. This will be exciting. We're hoping that it's PR. He is a producer, musician. He's the one who did all the music for my EPs that are on Spotify. Talented and just has a range. Just thought it'd be cool bringing in somebody from a different artistic vein than ours. Again, we're hoping. He lives in Australia, so we got a couple of things that we have to iron out in that regard. But we'll start having some guests.
Yeah, we want to hear your guys' stories, how how creativity kind of makes you tick and things like that. And it's always fun to interview other artists, other creatives, and see just kind of their especially like audio engineering, music production is something that I would like to get into but know nothing about. And so it'll hopefully we can start interviewing some different creatives and just kind of find expand not only our like creative growth, creative knowledge, but your guys's through their, their insight. And so, especially in Australia, I hope he has an Australian accent. That would be cool. That would be cool. But yeah, so that kind of wraps up season 2, episode 3 of The Creative Moment, and we will see you guys in 2 weeks.